Progressive. It's all part of the ACC on ESPN tonight from Cameron Indoor Stadium on the campus of Duke University, home of the Blue Devils for 81 years. They won 900 times here tonight. Duke will be trying to snap a little two-game mini-slide against Miami. It is a rare thing to see the Blue Devils lose two in a row. They were ranked third in the nation 1 week ago tonight. They went to Clemson. Tigers still reeling on campus from losing in football, but soothed those wounds by knocking off the Blue Devils. And then Saturday night, a veteran Louisville team came in here. They were led by freshman David Johnson, who was a sensational career game. And the Cardinals beat the Blue Devils 79-73. Reese Davis and Dick Vitale. Brooke Weisbrod will join us in a little bit. Now, Duke hasn't lost 3 in a row in 4 years, and there's no need to panic for sure. But where do the Blue Devils need to grow to reach their potential?
Well, number one, they got to protect the basketball a little bit better. They turned the ball over too much in their losses. Number two, they got to do a better job defending the three, allowing people to shoot 50% from the three like Louisville did. Carey's got to be carrying the post. Trey Jones has got to put defensive pressure on the basketball. They do that, they're going to win. What's the panic? 15-3 they are. Teams would die to be 15-3 at this time. Wow.
It's been 3 years since they've lost 2 in a row in ACC play, and now Blue Devils will jump it up with sensational freshman and Miami native Vernon Carey Jr., whose dad was an offensive lineman for the Hurricanes and the Dolphins. And Rodney Miller wins the tip, and Chris Likes leads the way for the Canes. Chris is playing with a very tender groin. He hurt himself in a valiant effort against Florida State on Saturday. This is what Duke has done to Likes, Dick. They don't let him get the ball back if he gives it up. He's 6th in the ACC in scoring.
You know, he's 2 for 15 against them in game 1. Nice ball fake.
E.J. Vasiljevic misses his first shot, and Trey Jones going the other way for the Blue Devils. It's the customary lineup of late for Duke as Matthew Hurt shoots from the corner and puts him up 3-0. The two veteran guards, Jones and Goldwire, with the freshman Hurt, Carey, and Cassius Stanley.
Well, they do a great job putting pressure on the basketball. Goldwire's solid defensively, and we know Trey Jones can. Hey, Hurt can flat out stroke the three.
Stanley gives up the baseline to Vasiljevic, but he forces him into a travel.
This would really hurt Miami in that game with Florida State. They played Florida State, showed Coach K on the sideline. He was not a happy camper. He thought there was not enough freedom of movement of his players in that Louisville game. For both teams, he said, both teams.
That was the thing he really emphasized in the aftermath of the game, that he wasn't saying that was the reason why. He said Louisville could have beaten them other ways. Hurt steps back, and he's 2 for 2.
Wow, he can stroke. I'll tell you this, he's got that good-looking stroke. I'm not saying, I want to make this very clear. Please don't take this from saying Larry Bird. But as a young guy, the way he strokes it with that feathery touch, he's got that Bird touch.
Chris Likes, as you mentioned, 2 of 15 in the first meeting, a 33-point loss for the Hurricanes. He's just hit 3 of his last 30, now 31 shots against the Blue Devils. He's really struggled in his career because Jim Larinaga told us today that Trey Jones is the toughest guy for Likes to get his shot off against him, to get good looks, and everything Miami does runs through their young guard. There's Cam McGusty missing, and Rodney Miller's there to tip it home.
Nice little tip in by Miller on the interior. Got good post position.
Speaking of post position, Carey out to Jones.
That's the one area he's got to improve on. He's got to be a consistent shooter from the perimeter. He does everything well. The kid is a catalyst to a team. Good early start by Duke.
But Jones has improved that shooting, Dick. He really struggled last year, but he wasn't counted on for a lot of offense with Zion Williamson, Cam Reddish, R.J. Barrett. But he's improved. He's shooting in the mid-30s from 3. He's been shooting a lot more of late. The last 3 games, he's had at least 15 field goal attempts.
Well, they want him to do that. Coach K wants to be a little bit more assertive, but take quality shots. Nice look. Good ball movement.
Passes.
You know, one thing about Miami, they're well coached, they're well drilled, a little short on talent, have some key injuries to players, a couple of big guys out, Keith Stone. They were 5-1 when he was playing.
Keith Stone, the transfer from Florida, who's out with a knee injury. They've also lost Dane Gack, who is playing well. And Carey misses, and Duke has a 5-point lead. Carl, thank you very much, and welcome to those of you who just watched Kentucky finish off Georgia, though it did take a little while to actually do the finishing. Duke has gotten off to a quick start here tonight. Reese Davis, Dick Vitale, and Brooke Weisbrod. Matthew Hurt hit his first 2 threes. Trey Jones has hit 1. And now Vernon Carey has a 2, and Duke's up by 7.
That's a big advantage in the post. He's so strong down in that box. Vernon Carey, Miami area. Certainly was in the picture with Miami, but it was absolutely Duke, Miami, down the stretch, along with also involved with Kentucky and Carolina. Could have involved with a lot of schools. Everybody wanted them.
Well, they were hoping that Dad, being a standout offensive lineman for the Hurricanes and for the Dolphins, would play in their favor. But it's really hard to blame anybody for not wanting to play in this environment. Jim Larrañaga's done just a sensational job. And though the last couple of meetings with the Blue Devils haven't gone his way, he's got 5 wins against Duke since he took over at Miami, now in his 9th season, as that last foul was called on Carey. And Carey has been a little bit prone to foul trouble as DJ Vasiljevic hits the shot along the baseline.
Well, he got a little foul trouble against Louisville. And he was not, in the last 4 games, 3 of them has not been the way he's played earlier in the year. In fact, Mike told us before the game, he's been better than what they even expected here. He's a candidate for Player of the Year in the conference.
He's taking a break now as Javin DeLaurier is checked in, one of the captains for the Blue Devils.
They're a deeper Blue Devil team than have been in the past.
Here's Cassius Stanley, his first shot of the night. Man, I was here on Saturday night, Dick. He was sensational and valiant in the losing effort against Louisville.
Well, I'm going to tell you this. If he improves his perimeter shot, he's such an unbelievable athlete. Going up and down the floor, he's quick, he's explosive. His stock will go way, way up.
He had 24 and 11, and Chris Lykes struggles against the Blue Devils, at least in the early going, have continued. Jones gets by Lykes. That's blocked by Miller. Wardenberg then saved it off of Jones' back. I think, let's see which way Roger Ayers is pointing. Duke off to a quick start. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball presented by Progressive Insurance.
Wow.
Presentation of college basketball presented by Progressive Insurance. Get slam dunk savings today. Visit progressive.com, and in part by Boost Mobile. Switch now and get unlimited gigs for the whole family. The Switch gives you more. Let's check in with Brooke Weisbrod now with more on Cassius Stanley. Brooke.
The name of the game tonight, especially for Cassius, guys, is toughness. Duke's been talking about it, and Coach K told us before the game that the best way to learn is through experience. So Cassius made sure he got out on the floor 90 minutes before tip tonight. He was one of the first guys out here getting shots up. He had those 24 points against Louisville, a good bounce-back game after the Clemson performance. And guys, he says he gets his toughness actually from his mom, Tanya, who is a track star at UCLA. Certainly not the laid-back LA guy we expected.
Same high school as Marvin Bagley. You see what he's done over his last 5 games. Mike Krzyzewski saying before the Louisville game, he's really started to find his voice a little bit with this team as a leader.
Well, the last 2 games, he's been so effective, 14 and 24. We know he can run it down the court. He's zoning right now.
This is something Larrañaga said today that they use as a little bit of a changeup. Miami's been mostly a man defense team this year.
They're physically hurting big time.
Nice good zone possession for Miami. Jones got the shot away. Miami comes out of there with it. Harlan Beverly, the freshman, number 5, has the ball for the Canes. Jack Wyatt is checked into the game for Duke.
Got to get more ball movement. Too much dribble. Got to move the basketball. Good ball fake. Up strong.
Miller with good position. He'll try it again. He misses twice with the left.
Good effort, though.
Gets it back a 3rd time, and a fresh 20. Vasiljevic from the corner, no good.
Wow, 4 times they're going to get the ball. Coach K can't be pleased with that. That's an example of a little toughness right there. Miami was a little tougher than them on that possession. You got to score, though, if you get the ball 4 times, Reese. Come on.
Be demoralizing if you don't. Shot clock at 7. Lykes into the paint. Chris continues to struggle, and they have 4 shots at it, Dig, and didn't get a bucket.
Staying with that zone, trying to protect players who are injured, including Lykes, playing with that hip flexor problem.
Jones off the side of the backboard. Shot clock did not reset. Durham Goldwire scores.
Goldwire comes up with the loose ball. See, that's the one area in the zone a lot of times. Can't block out. Guys don't block out. And loose balls come back like they did for Goldwire, and he made it converted.
Well, the issue for Miami, Dick, is they've had so many injuries that they haven't really been able to practice. They don't play a lot of zone. Hey, I did a game a couple of weeks ago. They started in zone against Louisville and promptly got behind by 20 points, switched to man and got back in the game. But had a couple of effective possessions now playing the zone. Beverly rushed to follow, and Blue Devils with a 10-point lead in the ball. Stanley.
They got to make some of those threes. Look at Miami missing those threes. You know, take a look right here. Look at this tough stretch right there. Wow. I mean, you kidding me? That's really a tough. That Florida State game, they were up 9 with about 4 minutes to go.
That's now 9 straight shots that the Hurricanes have missed. And Jack White rains in another 3. His first 3 ball of the night.
Well, from out of Australia, we certainly wish our best to the people out there with all those fires. Australia Open going on in tennis. They're stroking the 3, baby, and the Cameron Crazies love it, Reese. They love it just like they loved you when you walked in. They said, that's Reese Davis.
The Blue Devils have hit 5 of 9 from 3. We'll show you who's playing big coming up. There have been stars in college basketball, but few in recent memory as captivating as Zion Williamson was in his lone season at Duke. You just didn't see anyone do anything athletically the way the big fella was able to do. The dunks just made you want to watch everything he did, and they couldn't wait to see him in the NBA, and the wait is over tomorrow night as Zion makes his long-awaited debut for the much-improved Pelicans against the Spurs, 9:30 Eastern. 76ers and Raptors will get it started. Both games on ESPN and the app, so you can watch them. You know, he's had to deal with the knee injuries. They've tried to work with him physically to try to take some of that stress off his body, but man, oh man, when he played in the preseason, he was terrific.
He'll be a star right out of the gate. There's no doubt about it. He's so physical. He's so quick, so agile. Hey, that's Duke too, by the way. You got J.J. Redick. Unbelievable. That goes Likes to the locker room.
Yeah, he's had a groin issue. Boy, I mean, he was a warrior Saturday against Florida State. He was in obvious pain. He was going through some work with the trainers today during their shoot-around in practice, and he's trying to give it a go, and he's coming back out to the bench right now. We'll see if he can go as Duke keeps raining men from 3. Now it's Joey Baker.
He can shoot it. That's Joey Baker's forte. Shoot the 3, baby. But the bottom line is it becomes contagious. Hurts started it off, knocking down 2. Everybody else squaring their body, shooting very relaxed, no tension, up big.
Beverly lets one fly way too long. Carey's back in the game, and he has a rebound.
You know how much Zion coming back to you look at that team, the Pelicans. You got Duke all over the place.
Yeah.
Redick, and I'll tell you who's become a star. Brandon Ingram has been a star. He got 49 the other day.
Carey blew the layup. Hurt in there working. He hit a couple of 3s early and then showing that toughness that Coach K's been looking for, that he anticipates will develop as Matthew continues to mature as a player. Beverly kicks it out. McGusty, who's been dealing with a bulky back, knocks in the 3 for Miami. He's their second leading scorer. Really likes Vasiljevic and McGusty all right in the same range.
And shoot the 3.
14.
He's from a transfer out of Oklahoma, McGusty. Oklahoma gave a good fight yesterday against Baylor. The Baylor #1 now. Can't wait to see them Saturday against the Gators.
You've got that game, don't you?
Yeah, Saturday. Bobby Wischusen and I will be down there with Chris Buddett.
Trey Jones with the pull-up, rattles out. Freshman Anthony Walker got the rebound and got hit in the kisser for his effort.
You know, Jimmy Larranaga does a great job. I don't care what anybody tells me right now when I look at this team. This team's got some wins. They beat Illinois at Illinois. They beat Clemson. They beat Temple. They beat Pittsburgh. I mean, those are some quality wins. He has a big kid, as we talked about earlier, who they've lost. He had a meniscus surgery, came into the program with an ACL problem out of Florida, Keith Stone. And they were 5-1 in the 6 games he played. They think he's going to come back in about another week.
They're hopeful that he'll be able to. They did lose Dane Gack for the season. There's a sophomore from Australia who's been playing well. He had a meniscus issue. You see the Canes got off to a good start, winning 9 of their first 12. I mentioned the 3 guys who are pretty much doing the scoring, but interior defense particularly has been a problem for them. That's not a good matchup when you have to deal with Vernon Carey. But when you look at their schedule, Dick, in the ACC, this is their 8th ACC game. It's their 2nd game against Duke. They've played Louisville twice. They've played Florida State. They played Pittsburgh, which is a solid team, NC State and Clemson. They lost NC State, but they did something that Duke was unable to do. They won at Clemson.
Right, they did win at Clemson. And the one thing, let's face reality, the ACC is not vintage ACC from top to bottom that it's been in the past. There's no way, shape, or form. So you can steal a couple of wins here and there. I thought North Carolina State getting a big win yesterday, beating Virginia at Virginia.
Goldwire just picks McGusty's pocket and then dribbles by him. Hurt. He got fouled on his way to the basket.
Hurt's got to get more weight on his body, become a little more physical. He's an all-time leading scorer in the state of Minnesota. His brother, by the way, plays for Minnesota. I'm sure Richard Pitino would have loved to have him say yes to him. But I think he's going to be a star. I really do. I think, first of all, he's not a one-and-done player. But I think once he fills that body out, he's got a gift that, to me, is special. When you can make shots. You can make shots. You know, a lot of guys are great athletes, but they can't make shots.
Well, he can make shots. Delorier and Cassius Stanley returning. Vernon Carey and Trey Jones will get a break for the Blue Devils. You won't see quite as much substituting for the Hurricanes. They simply just don't have that kind of bodies, a number of bodies. Isaiah Wong is in for the Canes right now. You know, on the subject of Hurt, Dick, he's had a couple of games over the course of the season. Georgetown was one. Clemson last week was another. And I asked Mike before the game about the way he's responded. Matthew had a good offensive game against Louisville on Saturday night, and he also followed up the Georgetown game well. He's learning what it takes to produce at a high level at this level of basketball right now. It just takes, you know, people, the guys they had last year that came in ready-made, that's rare, you know?
Yeah, Barrett, Zion. Oh, wow. I'm telling you, people, this kid is going to be a player. He knows how to score. Got over 3,000 points in high school. Spots the opening, goes to the goal, slides, glides, good finger roll. And he can. You're right. He talked to us about the experience factor of being in these kind of physical games like they were with Louisville. And they haven't had enough of that. And he thinks they can learn from that. So he said, you know, losing. We lost 2 games. Everybody's making like it's a panic state. And he's right. They're 15-3. And they're only a couple of baskets away from being 18-0.
Chris Likes has returned for Miami. But you know what? I understand that. But people are going to react that way because of the empire that they built as Hurt takes a break with 11 points. I think that's a good problem to have when people panic when you lose a couple of games, you know?
Expectations, man. Expectations are big.
Means you set the bar pretty high.
Well, you wear that pinstripe uniform of the Yankees. Congratulations, Derek Jeter, Hall of Famer. How could somebody not vote for him? How could that guy logically not vote? 3,400 hits.
I do not know. Long. Although there are some guys who are very stubborn about their definition of first ballot Hall of Famers. Stanley can fly, sort of lost the handle on the way up. Thought we were about to get a highlight reel dunk. McGusty to Miller. He has his shot blocked by Delorier.
Delorier getting a little physical presence on the inside, a veteran player, complimentary player. He guys like O'Connell and Goldwire, they're really good, solid, complimentary players.
Long having all kind of trouble with Joey Baker, but he shakes him, and Goldwire fouled him from behind.
There's a couple of factors involved here in Miami. You're playing this team with a chip on their shoulder, losing 2 straight games. There's the block on the inside.
First foul on Goldwire.
Well, what did I tell Coach K when we left? I said, you know, Coach, it amazes me. I said, you sit here like a guy trying to prove yourself. Has anybody told you got over 1,000 wins, that you won a number of national championships, you won Olympic gold medals? He said, really? He could care less about all that tonight. He cared about one thing, he said, I want to win tonight.
Wants to get to 1148. 1,147. You said over 1,000, which is proof that you shorted him 147 wins.
I would just like to have the 147.
Alex O'Connell in for the Blue Devils. Another sharpshooter. Alex turns it over. Long, the freshman from New Jersey, makes a good play, but then Cassius Stanley fouled him.
Stanley came out of Sierra Canyon High School. They got 2 great players there. Paul Biancardi did a great job during that high school tournament. Kid named Boston and kid named Zaire Williams.
Same.
But there's the contact, no doubt about it. Body contact.
Great Duke with an 18-point lead in the early going here at Cameron on the battered and bruised Miami team. Dick, the great work that you do for the V Foundation, the gala's coming up.
Well, we got a car that we're raffling off. I think Reese, you look great in that car, pulling up the ESPN studios. $100, people. I'll like to tell you this. Kentucky fans and Arkansas fans responded big time. We sold the first car, it's already sold out. The second car, we got ready for this. 400 chances only remaining out of 1,500. Just go to DickVitalOnline.com. DickVitalOnline.com. All the money goes to the V Foundation to help kids battling cancer. Nothing worse, Reese. I spoke at a funeral for a youngster several months ago, and it just crushed me to see the pain of a mom and dad dealing with losing a child.
Well, you're to be saluted for the fantastic work that you've done helping raise money for the V Foundation and the Coaches versus Cancer. Also this week, where you'll see a lot of the suits and sneakers with the coaches across the country. Winston has the shot rattle out, but it's been something that the entire basketball community has rallied behind and done a lot of great work to try to fight that. And the emotional stories that you have shared, I think, have really inspired a lot of people to be as generous as they possibly can be.
Well, thank you, Reese. I think the Coaches versus Cancer do a great job, as well as the V Foundation.
Absolutely. Good defense again from Duke, and Hurt probably should have just grabbed the basketball, but Duke's going to come out of there with it. Jordan Goldwire has returned for the Blue Devils. Good post feed from Stanley, and Rodney Miller's going to be called by Ted Valentine for giving Big Vern a little push. That's the first foul on Miller. Miller has to stay out of foul trouble. Miami doesn't have any appreciable size other than him.
They got 3 out of 6 players to play in the front court.
Oh!
Up and away. You talk about an athlete. You talk about a high riser. He's the elevator man. My guy Reese can jump like that. They told me intramurals down in Alabama you jump like that.
Somebody lied to you. But in a related story, Zion Williamson is going to make his NBA debut tomorrow night. Stanley broke his vertical leap record here
That's
too.
what I heard.
Oh,
what an athlete. You can't teach what he possesses. You can work with him all on the parts of the game and learn how to play. He's a typical, what I call, Mr. Potential. And as Brooks said so well, he wants to be a player.
Perfect on. Listen.
Oh, man. Whew. Players to play in the front court.
Oh, boy.
Wow.
Was he soaring. An exciting player. Just put up 24 against Louisville on Saturday night. And Stanley so far tonight with 5. But the last 2 of the emphatic and exhilarating variety. Vasiljevic.
Vasiljevic can shoot the basketball. He's from Australia as well. Nice gesture, Dan Schumann and Jay Billis, and raising some money for them down there for those fires.
Well, that's because of what DJ is doing. DJ of Serbian descent, but from Australia. That's his home. He's donating $5 for every 3-pointer he made this year, and several in the ESPN family have pledged to match that as well. And Hurt knocks down his 3rd 3 of the night. He's got 15.
I tell you, I think he's going to be a star. I really do. I believe that once he gets physically stronger, he gets tougher, he understands how to compete in terms of the physical part of the game. He's got that stroke, Reese, and that's special.
A 19-point lead for the Blue Devils. The last 2 times Miami has played Duke as Miller scores. Blue Devils have won by 30 or more. That's coming on the heels of a run in which the Hurricanes had as much success as just about anyone not named North Carolina have had against Duke.
Tell you, think about this. That Florida State team, one of the most impressive teams I've called this year. They're on fire. They're all on fire. They're shooting that zone out.
Ray Jones knocks down his 2nd 3 of the night. It's a 20-point lead. They're trying a little bit of everything. They can't match up with him inside. Zone worked a couple times, and this time they just shot over it.
Oh, the star is hurt. The star's trying to play, but his kid is hurt. He doesn't have that burst of speed. You know, I was saying, they played Florida State about 72 hours ago. Played them where they're beating them by 9, and that's an aggressive, attacking, physical Florida State team. They had him on the ropes, Miami. Feel bad for him. I don't want to see anybody embarrassed.
Saturday, 3 of the best Big 12 SEC Challenge games on ESPN and the app. Kansas and Tennessee. It's where College Game Day is going to be at 4 Eastern, 3 Central. In a few minutes, you're going to see a wild melee that Dick and I haven't seen yet at the end of the Kansas State game. Could impact who's available for that one. Kentucky and Texas Tech at 6 Eastern, and then it'll be #1 Baylor on the road to take on the Gators. Dick, you're going to, I don't know, have you had a chance to see Baylor in person yet this year?
No, not in person, but I've seen him on the tube.
Wait till you see in person it's Freddie Gillespie.
Yeah, I saw him last night.
I was watching that game last night as I was traveling here. What a tremendous story. Started his career at Division III. Just become a terrific center for Scott Drew's team. That's a good-looking club as Carey goes around Miller, and Miller fouls him. Three-point play opportunity.
You mentioned Gillespie. He's one of the 5 best defensive players as well. He can rebound, very tenacious. Watch his post move inside. There's a little fake, a drop step. Great drop step. U.B. Brown would have loved that. He used to teach that big time at the 5-star. Vernon Carey broke the heart of Jimmy Larinaga. Let me tell you this about Jim Larinaga. What hurt them is they had commitments from 2 big-time players, and then they changed their commitment. Losing Bay, and then the kids at Villanova doing really well, and the kid Walker who's with Oregon.
Larinaga has some guys coming in next year. They think they're going to be a lot better next year. They have a transfer from Cincinnati that's sitting out this year, Brooks, so that will give him another big body. His likes continues his throw. You can tell he's just not getting the same lift. He's 0 for 5. He's now 8 for his last 48 against Duke. Baker. Wardenberg with the rebound. Wardenberg had a solid performance against the Blue Devils in their meeting in Coral Gables.
He drew the praise from Coach K after that game.
And Roger Ayers catches Cam McGusty for stepping out of bounds. What about big Cassius Stanley?
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Cassius Stanley. You talk about a high riser. You talk about up. Look at this. Up and away, baby. He comes right down the lane. Dunkaroo, dipsy-doo, Dunkaroo. Come on, Reese. We dream of jumping like that. Who's that? Is that Alfonso?
All right, guys, we'll look forward to seeing how that unfolded, regrettably. The end of that, I know it's a bitter rivalry, but
no place for that.
There's no place for that in the sport.
Play basketball, play hard, play fair. Nice fake, nice fake.
Gavin DeLaurier scores for the Blue Devils. Blue Devils have done a lot of damage from behind the three-point arc. Tonight, 5 different guys have hit a triple. They're 8 of 14, and now DeLaurier has a chance to get 3, as they like to say, the old-fashioned way.
You know, he's one of those guys that contributes off the bench, gives them some strong minutes. He's a good complementary player.
There's first points in after going scoreless in the last 2 games, Dick. And he finishes off the 3-point play, and the Blue Devils are up huge.
Jimmy Larinaga is such a proud guy. He was a great player at Providence.
And Chris Likes still can't find the bucket. Miami's leading scorers had a tough night playing on an injured groin, and there's another 3. Joey Baker knocks it in, 6th of the night, or rather 9th of the night.
You know, it's a little easier to shoot the ball, Reese. I'm sorry, a little easier to shoot the ball when you got no pressure on you right now. You're up 45-16.
Anthony Walker follows up. Another one of those young players that Larinaga hoping develops physically, that they have high hopes for. Brooke, Joey Baker's had a good night so far tonight.
Yes, he has, and it was interesting to watch him take shots in the pregame. One of the assistant coaches, Chris Carrawell, was telling him to stay patient and just wait till the ball goes through the net before he's demanding the next shot. You kind of watch right here. You see him play patient, wait, nice rotation on that ball. And you can just tell the difference when he gets his feet set and he really works through the follow-through in that shot to get that nice follow-through and just play more patient.
Brooke, on the season, he's making 42% from behind the arc, but he's he's the guy that burned his red shirt last year late when they had some injury problems and didn't get a lot of playing time the rest of the way. But he's a guy who can give them a good lift, another good shooter. This is a much better three-point shooting team than the Blue Devils had last year. Now, in all other areas last year was really special, but they got some shooters on this club, and Baker's one of them. More good defense from Duke. Goldwire, White, Jones. Stanley with the offensive window, and Wardenberg will pull it away for the Canes.
They've improved shooting the three, but having a guy like Baker doesn't hurt. You can bring a guy in against his zone, maybe play against Syracuse. Syracuse, by the way, is playing a lot better right now. The kid Hughes has been terrific with Jim Boeheim's team.
It's now a half dozen turnovers for Miami. You see what Duke has done the last couple of games in those two losses. Didn't shoot it great from behind the arc tonight. They've made better than 50%, and unless Miami gets busy, they're going to have their lowest scoring half of the season. Previously, lowest scoring was 25. Jack White.
They're all contributing, man. They're all contributing. This Miami team really, I think, took a physical. They not only lost the game Saturday, but physically they took a beating in terms of guys. They couldn't practice. Jimmy told me they couldn't practice Sunday. We're all in the trainer's room getting workout. It's tough. And then you got to come here and face this team that's going to play with a little chip on their shoulder because they lost 2 in a row.
McGusty, who just scored, Larinaga said watching him walk around the last couple of days with a back spasm, he didn't think there was any way he could play. Jim got a massage therapist to come in and work him. They got him loosened up a little bit. He's continued to get treatment, and he was at practice this morning. Larinaga said it was easily the best he'd looked in a while in terms of being able to move around.
Tell you what Jim Larinaga did at George Mason was unbelievable. Remember that unbelievable dramatic run?
Can you believe? That's 14 years ago, 2006.
I know, time has really flown. It's incredible.
Back when you and I were young men.
Young men. What have I been young? I like to know when I was young. I can't feel that, man. Oh, wow. Young at heart, though. Young at heart.
Jack White returns.
To put it very bluntly, we got a total M&M'er in this match. I mean, it's simple as can be. We cannot fool you. It's a mismatch. But we're going to have some stories for you after this half, so you better tell your friends to stay tuned, because we're going to talk some stuff, man. I've got it ready to roll, Reese.
Hey, I've got an idea. Why don't you look at your Twitter feed at halftime and go into Vital's Twitter feed right now and ask Uncle Dickie to tell you a story. Yeah. Tell me a story about fill in the blank.
Fill in the blank, all right. Wow.
Some of them could even be basketball related.
Hey, what about Illinois right now? Just beat the heck out of Purdue. At Purdue, the kid Cookburn has been terrific. Yeah. Oh, man, he's been terrific. I think 22 and 16 rebounds.
Yeah, I'm going to see them in a couple of weeks against Michigan State. Looking forward to that. The Blue Devils, you've talked about Matthew Hurd, an emerging star. He has been terrific in the first half. Duke has really played inside out well. Carey giving it up to Jones. A couple of threes. They've hit 9 of them here in the first half.
Jones's brother's also on that Pelicans team. You think of J.J. Redick, Jones, Ingram, Zion. I mean, that's unbelievable. That's Duke 2. They'll be on Wednesday night. Make sure you watch. You'll see Zion, baby. Zion Mania is going to hit the unbelievable New Orleans.
It's been quite a run in New Orleans. Saints notwithstanding, but LSU winning the national championship in football in New Orleans. Now Zion gets to make his debut.
What about LSU tonight winning by 2? They're undefeated. They're undefeated in right now the SEC. They've won some close games. They pulled out one against Arkansas, and they pulled out one today against the Gators.
That was a calling card of the LSU team last year, too, being able to sometimes squandering leads, but then being able to find a way to finish games.
They got a good backcourt there in Mays and certainly in Smart.
Carey, the rebound, he's fouled, and under 14 seconds to play here in what has been a complete domination in the first half by the Blue Devils, and Carey will go to the line.
It's been a domination since the layup drill.
Auguste was called for that foul. It's his first. Carey just has 5 tonight, as Duke has done a lot of its damage from outside, and a lot of different guys have contributed. 8 different players have scored. 7 guys have a rebound. 4 have an assist. That falls right in line with what happened in Coral Gables. Every Blue Devil that played, 11 of them in Coral Gables, had at least 3 points and a rebound.
I'll tell you one thing, though. We mentioned George Mason. He led that Cinderella run in 2006. I mean, they lost their eventual champ, the Gators, but they beat Michigan State. They beat North Carolina and rode to the Final Four. What a dramatic story that was. He also led Miami to the Sweet 16 in 2013, 2016. He had 13 straight winning seasons at George Mason. The guy could coach. He's got over 600 career wins. I feel for him. I know how much the game means to him. I know how much he loves working with young people and teaching. And I know right now it's got to hurt big time to be down 26 at the half.
And fouling Duke with fouls to give. Right now, you have to imagine doing something like this at this juncture with this kind of lead is basically, this is like a live practice. They're working on situations up by 26.
We talk about Coach K. It's expectations. But I'm going to tell you this, Reese, a lot of people can disagree with me, and that's their prerogative. If I had to pick the Mount Rushmores of active coaches now, of any sport, he'd be one of my 4. Absolutely. You have Belichick in there, right?
Yep.
Belichick, Saban. And who would be the 4th?
We'll debate that and talk about that in the second half.
Those 3 are locks to me.
That could be one of the things.
Those 3
fewest
are
points in any half this season for Miami. Duke has the Canes doubled up 48-24. You can stay tuned for the Jeep halftime report. Time now to go to the studio. Kevin, Seth, and LaFonso. Guys?
I'd like to see that.
You're watching Super Tuesday presented by Progressive. Number 8, Duke doubling up Miami. The Blue Devils have dropped their last 2 games and appear to be well on their way to riding the ship. Reese Davis, Dick Vitale, Brooke Weisbrod with us on the sideline. So really impressive first half for the Blue Devils, particularly shooting the ball. They were 9 of 16 from behind the arc.
Well, they did a great job shooting the ball, and it really started with Matt Hurt. Matthew Hurt knocked down a couple of threes to start the game. He's got that beautiful rotation that struck. I'll tell you one thing, all-time leading scorer in the history of high school basketball in Minnesota. There he is. He's got to get stronger physically. But he's an active player. Had a great first half. Had a terrific first half. Watch his drive down the lane. Tremendous. He's going to be a star. I don't have any doubt in my mind, because he's not a one-and-done player, and he's going to get stronger physically. And I think the upside for that young guy is special.
Duke had 8 guys score in the first half. Hurt was the only guy in the game in double figures. What the Blue Devils have done from the arc tonight. Hurt has been really good, and Chris Likes, who's the 6th leading scorer in the ACC and the Hurricanes leading scorer, dealing with a groin injury. He is 0 for 7 from the floor. Look, the injury has certainly hampered Miami's leading scorer, but Likes is a guy who in his career has had trouble with the Blue Devils. He is now 8 for 50 from the floor in his career. He was 2 for 15 in the first meeting between the two, as Likes is called for the foul in the opening moments.
Reese, certain teams give you problems in terms of matchups. Duke is really, the matchup is almost impossible for them to deal with Miami. And I look right here at the kid Likes. To me, he's a winner by even trying to play. They can basically hardly walk because they couldn't practice. And he's trying to gut it out. And for that, I commend him. As you told me earlier, you said he's one tough kid.
He's an explosive athlete, really good leader for them. And has been a really effective player. Just the Blue Devils have been the thorn in his side, as they have been for many players over the years.
Trey Jones has been tough on him, because Trey Jones is one of the premier defensive players in the game.
Well, that's what Larinaga said today, that Jones has been the toughest guy. A great save by Carey, who likes to find any space against, and then they have Goldwire to spell him if they have to. Carey gets really deep position, and Miami's fortunate that's not an and one.
One thing you do if you're Jimmy Larinaga, people say, what would you do in a situation like this? You play it in segments. You tell your kids, everybody play 5 minutes. Give me 5 good minutes, and let's see what we can do in those 5 minutes. Because you really, right now, the scoreboard tells you that we got a mismatch here, a total mismatch.
The freshman Walker, who gives up about 65 to 70 pounds to Big Vernon Carey, a fellow freshman, picked up his 2nd foul.
He's charted right now by our people to be a draft choice about 20 in the draft, about 20 in the first round.
What do you think of it?
I think that's it. I think basically you're looking at a scenario where he's a late first round, maybe with a little bit more work, get up to about 16, 17, but he's a first round pick. And I think I really believe he's the one guy in the team that will lead.
Well, he's got really good skills. He can shoot the ball from the perimeter a little bit and likes his shot blocked by Hurt. He hasn't been great at the free throw line, but he's got a nice touch. He's a skilled big guy, too. He's not an above-the-rim guy.
Right.
But he's you see what he's done. He leads the ACC in field goal percentage among the national leaders, among those who've taken at least 190 shots. He scores, he blocks some shots, he gets on the boards, and he blocks shots right on cue, though he's called for the foul.
I mean, he's a good player. There's no question. Another year of college, I mean, he'd be even a lot better. A little more trimmed down, a little quicker. But, you know, you talk about players of the year. Let's look right now in the ACC. Player of the year. Now, remember, there's 20 games you got to play. Right now, they played 7. But, I mean, he's got to be an early guy up there in the conversation. Jordan Warren's got to be up there. And I'm going to tell you a kid, not getting a lot of publicity, but he's really coming on. Syracuse, the kid Hughes. He's playing terrific ball for Jimmy Boeheim's team.
And so is Jim's son, Buddy, who's the player of the week in the ACC.
Well, you know, he's done a little better than his dad when he played. You know, between he and Dave Bing, that was one great backcourt. They averaged between them about 37 a game. Yeah, Bing got about 29 and Jim got about 6. I'm only teasing you, Jimmy B, so I know you can play.
Well, your math is off a little bit. That would give Jim 8. But that's okay.
Hey, I was never a Rhodes Scholar. No, I knew it was that. I was just doing that to see
you're seeing if I checked out on you here with the big lead for the Blue Devils. Is Hurt now gets his 17th point, his second drive of the night. Sam Wardenberg.
He drew the praises of Coach K after the first game. He liked his physicality, his toughness.
Sam's another guy who's been playing hurt. He's been dealing with a knee injury, and McGusty's had the back issue and fires up the air ball, and it's a 28-point deficit for the Hurricanes.
Since we got this unbelievable situation score-wise, I'm going to say a conference that's underrated. The A-10. You look at the A-10, Dayton we know is legit. There's no doubt about Dayton being legit. But they got teams in the air like VCU, Duquesne. You got teams like Rhode Island. I mean, Richmond. Those teams are all in the hunt for March Madness bids. I'm telling you. And there's going to be some winning that goes on. Finally stroked one. But I'm happy for him making that likes. But you got some teams in the ACC going to have to start winning games because really it's not a vintage ACC. We got a bunch of clubs, 4-4, 4-3. That's why the NC State win was a big win over Virginia.
Likes has now hit 2 in a row, and he knocks down the 3.
He heard us. He heard us talk about his numbers against Duke. He said, give me some room, baby. I can make shots.
He hit so many huge shots after they'd squandered that lead against Florida State Saturday to try to give the Hurricanes a chance to win. Vasilovic, it's a hand on it, but he'll stay on this end with the Blue Devils.
One thing about Jimmy Larinaga, his kids will not quit. Because Jimmy he played for Joe Mullaney and he played 2 years for Dave Gavitt, 2 outstanding coaches. And Jimmy was a fierce, fierce competitor when he played.
You go back, you were talking about the A-10, and previously you'd mentioned Player of the Year in the ACC, but National Player of the Year could come from Dayton as well, Obi Toppin.
Yeah, he's having a heck of a year, no question. Having a heck of a year. I think when you talk National Player of the Year, my choice today would I go to my alma mater, Seton Hall, even though they don't claim me. Miles Powell, he's been sensational.
Yeah, he has. Seton Hall has had a big week or so in the past, a little too long, as Jones was trying to hit Hurt.
See Trey right now having done, went right by him. He went right by him, trying to keep up with him. He said, come on. Anywhere else back? I like the way he spun back. Trey Jones really did a good job. You know, we talked about the Pelicans, Duke too. Got to throw in his brothers there as well. His brother, Redick, Ingram, Zion.
Zion making his debut tomorrow night against the Spurs on ESPN at 9:30. There goes Lights again. Chris can't get this one to go. Jones had a little bit of a rough night defensively. Everybody did, trying to deal with Louisville's David Johnson.
David Johnson put a show on. He put a show on.
He banged up his shoulder. You know, David missed a lot of time in the offseason with a surgically repaired shoulder. He banged it up close to the end of that Duke game. I'm told he hasn't had contact in practice yet, but they are expecting him not to miss any time. So that's certainly good news. He had surgery to repair torn labrum, and that's a 4 to 6 month recovery, and he missed a lot of time in the offseason early on, but he's starting to emerge as a star for the Cardinals, who, along with Florida State, lead the ACC.
You know, he's going to be a special player. And when I learned that was maybe several months ago from Ryan McMahon, who lives in Sarasota where I live, and he told me, said, we got a freshman, David Johnson, who's going to be special.
Trey Jones on the pull-up. Offensive rebound to Laurier.
Laurier working on the glass, just playing hard. That's all you want your kids to do is now play hard.
It was important, certainly for Miami, to keep playing hard, as you said, but Duke also has a week off after tonight. So after losing 2 in a row, losing a home game against Louisville, how Duke finishes this game over the last 15:09 will be important to Coach K.
For fans of college basketball, for fans of big-time contenders.
This is not a final exam. This is a midterm. This is as good as it gets.
The Big 12 SEC Challenge tripleheader begins Saturday at 4 on ESPN.
Let's take a look at tonight's Wendy's Wouldn't Watch. Vernon Carey Jr. and Trey Jones, certainly both midseason top 25 candidates for the Blue Devils. Carey with 8 points. Jones in double figures tonight with 10. Trey also with 5 assists in what has been a thorough spanking of the Hurricanes. Vasilovic knocks down the 3 to beat the shot clock.
Well, that's his strength, to be able to shoot the 3, Vasilovic.
A couple of years ago, he led the ACC in three-point percentage. Didn't have a great year last year from a percentage standpoint. I think DJ's gotten himself in much better condition this year. He's had to. He and Likes, who gets the steal, and McGusty are playing better than 40 minutes a game, or around 40 minutes a game. And last Saturday against Florida State, had to go into the extra period more than 40 minutes.
I'm going to let you be a coach for a moment. When do you reach the point with a kid like Likes, who's battling an injury, you look at the scoreboard and you say, you know what, I got to think about our future. This game looks like, you know, it's going to be tough for us to come back and win. And do we take him out and rest him?
I think we're not too far away, but I would imagine Chris would have the responsible opposing view of coming out of this game. As soon as we're finished at Cameron Sports Center, Kenny Mayne and Zubin Mehenti will have plenty on Zion's impact with his debut coming tomorrow, Luka and the Clippers, and then Tigers 2020 expectations, and of course, all of the fallout from the brawl at the end of the Kansas State game tonight. Seth Greenberg, LaFonso Ellis would join the show. Silvio De Sousa, see him number 22 right there. This happened earlier tonight. He momentarily picked up a chair, it looked like. This started at the end of the game. Kansas was dribbling out the clock. Kansas State swiped the ball and went down for a shot. De Sousa blocked it, and then the ridiculousness ensues. Hey, look, you know, you want to take some time to be reasonable and digest this if you can, but my immediate instinct, I totally agree with you, Dick. I think De Sousa needs to be gone for the rest of the season. They can stay with the program, and they can mentor him and take care of him, but you know, some actions rise to the level that you forfeit the privilege of play.
Absolutely.
I think that was it.
Picking up a chair, it's criminal. It's really a sad case. It's really sad for basketball. And I really have a problem with the way that bench exploded as well. I think that you've got to have assistant coaches on that sideline to keep their players on the sideline. And I don't want to hear the excuse. I know I've seen some people on Twitter put up about the fact, well, I shouldn't have stolen the ball, etc. Give me a break. There's no excuse for what transpired after stealing the ball. I mean, you could see he went up to block the shot, he fouled him, and then he ran over, stared at him, and just created a nightmare for Kansas basketball. Kansas fans care about basketball. Bill Self cares about basketball. Those people give a damn. They've had a great program. They don't need that kind of nonsense in their program.
And, you know, I didn't think that David McCormick, from the video that we saw, put himself very well. Number 33 was in the middle of it. Rather than trying to tamp it down, he became involved. But it's going to be interesting to see how many suspensions come, and there will be, but how many of them, how long they are, and what kind of impact this has long term. And if you are marking your calendars, the return match is on February 29th in Manhattan.
Tell you one thing, the Big 12 office, they got to come down heavy and hard. There can't be no lightweight move there at all.
I was consulting the rule book during halftime after that about the protocol for reporting the fights, and it will go to the conference administrators. The athletic directors will be involved, and such a black eye for, frankly, Kansas program that already is dealing with some off-the-court issues, and then to have something which is semi on the court, I guess we want to call it, giving just another obstacle for the Jayhawks program, which, as you mentioned, is a proud one. And the NCAA situation, and now with this dealing with, it's been
let the kid make the
tough
layup.
go.
Let the kid make the layup in that situation and go to the locker room, enjoy the moment. It won the game. It won the game easily.
Hey, look, there are some coaches that, and maybe Bruce Weber's one of them, but there are some coaches who would say you concede. They're letting they're dribbling it out. It's over, but the clock's running. You play the game you want it the way you want to play, and you play it the right way until
40
it's the
minutes.
end. Yeah,
40 minutes.
I mean, it's like the old question about running up the score at the end of games. If you don't like it, stop it. You don't have to stop it in an egregious manner that way. As Joey Baker knocks down another three, he's got 9 tonight.
He looks very comfortable shooting the ball. You can see that he really loves that part of the game.
3 of 4 from behind the arc. This Duke team has some weapons back there. But look, Miami's not a good defensive team. Larinaga will tell you that. It's been a struggle for them all season. We've mentioned a couple of times their interior defense, but really their overall defense hasn't been very good.
You know the thing right here? They're only down 3.5. You forget the first half and keep the score. Miami's only down 3 in the second
You're
half.
a glass half full kind of guy. Captivating television, the Australian Open. Chris Fowler and the guys do a tremendous job with that. You see Coco Gauff still a couple months shy of her 16th birthday and get her driver's license. I think she'll be able to afford a car. Took care of Venus in the first round, and now a little bit of a scuffle in the early going. The Australian Open going on over on ESPN2 as Vernon Carey will go to the free throw line and shoot a couple with Duke up by 25. Saturday, Big 12 SEC Challenge on ESPN and the ESPN app. Tennessee and Kansas, 4 o'clock Eastern Time. College Game Day will be there. The festivities or melee in Lawrence tonight, adding to the intrigue of the Tennessee-Kansas game at 4 o'clock Eastern Time. Kentucky and Texas Tech, and then Baylor against Florida. Dick, you'll be there to see the #1 team in the country taking on the Gators.
Yeah, Bob Wischusen and I and Chris Budden looking forward to that. The Gators are really a very formidable team. I think it's going to be a tough game there for Baylor. I know they come in #1, but the Gators will have a little chip on their shoulder. Lost a heartbreaker today to LSU. Take a look at Baylor right there. 15 straight wins. You know what's really amazing? He has done an incredible job. Yet there have been critics about him in terms of can he coach. That's ridiculous and absurd. What he's done for that program from where it was when he started is amazing. And I agree with Fran Fischello what he said last night about the fact what he's done this year. I mean, he's got to be right up there as Coach of the Year in terms of the conversation, without a doubt.
At this point in the season, right around the halfway point, maybe slightly past it, I would say he is certainly one of the leaders for Coach of the Year. Scott Drew's done a sensational job. They've had a lot of success in the Big 12 SEC Challenge, and then it'll be a steep hill against the Gators, who really haven't played to the level that many expected in the preseason.
Well, preseason, everybody was talking about Final Four. They got Blackshear. They got the kid now Payne, who's giving them some good minutes. And Nemhart can play at the point. I like Mike White. But they've had moments where they're really good, and they've had some inconsistency. But today is not a bad loss. I mean, you lose by 2 on the road to LSU, who's very good.
Right.
I mean, LSU's got, a kid inside. Watford, the freshman, is terrific. In the backcourt, I love their backcourt. Skyler is incredible. Mays and Javante Smart. But you said earlier, Chris Fowler doing a great job in tennis, and I agree because Chris is terrific. All of you guys, and I told you this, the job you did in football was unbelievable. What you did, I sent you a text right after you did it. Mm-hmm. The way you handled that whole situation, that's not easy to do. People think it's easy. And giving a championship trophy out, you're up there, and you handle it in professional style like I know everything you do.
Very, very kind. I appreciate that.
It's a fact.
I promised the people as we watch Miami working deep in the clock Sam Wardenberg fouled on his way to the bucket. I promised the people in the first half when, honestly, and you and I, we try to be honest with the people. This thing's out of hand, right?
Right.
I promised them that you'd tell a story. Tell me a story. What is your favorite story about doing a game in this building, Cameron Indoor?
Wow, my favorite story in doing a game here.
Cable shot?
Cable, thank you. That's one of them. That was a magical moment because many people thought that would be blowout city. That was a team that was struggling. When I hit my head, I jumped up when he made that unbelievable shot. I hit my head. Blood is coming down. Mike Patrick is next to me. And I didn't care about blood. I didn't want the game to end, man. I wanted to go on and on and on.
I mean, it's a unique place from which to broadcast. A lot of our colleagues get very upset about this, just to be honest. I don't really mind it. It's a unique view. You can really see action unfold. But I don't know. There's something called a snoop cam that's right in front of us. That might be a better vantage point, that camera there. There's the railing. I don't know if you can see my hand hitting it up there. They've got padding on it now, probably because you split that dome open.
They split that dome, the VBDI. It was split open, but I didn't care. It was such a magical moment here. And eventually Stackhouse and company. That was a terrific North Carolina team. Hey, I want to mention North Carolina. I know a lot of people say, what's happened North Carolina? Well, very simple. There's another deuce inside. But let me say this. This is not a vintage North Carolina team talent-wise. Roy Williams was not just throwing smoke when he said, we're just not that gifted. He was telling a fact, especially when Cole Anthony went out. My situation, I'm telling you now, they will be back. Back bigger than ever. Next year, they got one of the top 3 classes. There's another basket there for Hurt in recruiting. You look at the recruits they got, it's unbelievable coming in. Same blue bloods, Kentucky, Duke, Carolina. Kentucky, Duke, and Carolina are 3 rated number 1, 2, and 3 recruited, followed by Tennessee's 4, 5 Michigan, and 6 Arkansas. Eric Musselman doing a great job down there with the Razorbacks. So they'll be back. You know, what about Cole Anthony? Will he play? I think there's no doubt about the fact that you got to let the medical team make that call. They got to be involved, and then the youngster, how badly does he want to play, and is he able to play?
So your dream just came true. They killed my mic.
They killed your mic?
So you get to do the game by yourself.
No. I want you, baby. I need you. I need you. You're my crutch, man. I need you. Don't leave me. Hey, some things in basketball are interesting. The Big East Conference and the Big Ten. So special this year, both those conferences. They've been dynamite. In the Big Ten, people are winning at home. That's why that Illinois win today, blowing out Purdue, was a major win for Illinois. Coach Underwood doing a heck of a job.
Now, Brad Underwood has done a terrific job. Top 25 teams, see 5 of them coming from the Big Ten, 3 of them from the Big East. You can probably make a case for a couple others from the Big East as well. That Big Ten, read an article today, Dick, that across college basketball, the home court advantage in terms of percentage of wins has been declining a little bit and has declined this year. That is not the case in the Big Ten. If memory serves, I think it's 85% going into the day. 85% of the home teams have won. So you get a road win, well, as Illinois did, as you pointed out, it's major. Might be worth a little bit more.
It's major. I remember a sequence when you look at the Big Ten, Michigan State, they go to Purdue and get really waxed. I think it was like 71-42.
Yeah, they lost by 30.
Yeah, and then you turn around, Purdue had just been beaten by Illinois like 61-37. So the home is a special place. I'm going to tell you 2 kids that don't get a lot of recognition who can play. 2 kids at Minnesota, the kid Carr and the kid Otoro. What a combination they are. As good as they are, my buddy Dick Weiss called me up. He was down to watch Rutgers play them on Sunday. He said Rutgers defense held both scoreless in the first half. Rutgers defense, what Steve Pikiell's doing is tremendous. They haven't been in the tournament since '91. They're going to go dancing. And I'm telling you this, Penn State is going to go dancing. And I'm happy for Coach Chambers.
So am I. Pat Chambers done a really good job at Penn State. Steve Pikiell, a Jim Calhoun disciple, instilling that toughness at Rutgers. I'm going to tell you, though, the best game I've seen this year, the most entertaining game. Friday night, as Hurt knocks down another three. Friday night, Iowa and Michigan. Did you get a chance to see that?
No, I didn't.
Oh, Luka Garza was sensational. I mean, he's played Michigan twice. He wishes he could play Michigan every game. He has 77 points in 2 games against the Wolverines. Had 33 at home in Iowa Stadium. Fran McCaffrey's got a good team that can really score a good offensive team.
I'm going to see them. I got them against Michigan. So I will see against Michigan State. Michigan State. And I'm telling you, Garza, I can't wait to see him. His improvement from last year has been off the charts.
He was making shots. Likes goes to the line, shoot the 1-and-1. And Chris has had another frustrating night, but he's certainly not in that boat alone among the Hurricanes.
You know, this one year, I don't know, maybe we're going to start just a little sample. I think somebody wrote this. I know I read it somewhere. Now, maybe this year is a sample of what we're going to see when they rescind the one-and-done situation, because really the one-and-done player has not been a major impact this year in college basketball like we've seen in the past. I mean, Anthony Edwards is supposed to be the #1 pick, they're saying right now in ESPN, and certainly he hasn't been the impact in terms of turning Georgia into a power. So again, it's veteran players, it's experienced players, and I like that. I like seeing that.
Well, last year, Duke captivated the nation, but it was a veteran team that ended up winning a national championship. Really veteran teams that made the Final Four. Not to say you can't do it with one and done, you certainly can, but it might be a little bit of a different year. Certainly topsy-turvy one this season. The ibis is Miami's mascot because the ibis is said to be the last creature to seek shelter from the storm. Well, the ibis is in the storm house now because the storm has overcome the Hurricanes as Duke has a 30-point lead as Cam McGusty stepping to the line for Miami. And despite being serenaded with air ball because of earlier, he makes 2.
Well, there's my Mount Rushmore as the college basketball race. Coach K obviously on there, Bobby Knight, Roy Williams, and Dean Smith. That's in my 40 years at ESPN. If you'd like to get an autographed copy with all my dollars going to the V Foundation, every dollar, just go to DickVitaleOnline.com, write down how you'd like me to autograph it. And if you're a Duke fan, there's loads of Duke stuff in there with Christian Laettner. He's one of my 4 Mount Rushmore players. People may disagree with me, but he was terrific as a college player.
Yeah, I don't think there's any reason to dispute that with Christian's career here at Duke with 2 national championships, winning shots, another appearance in the national championship game.
You know, I figured out our 4th guy, but we talked about Mount Rushmore of active coaches.
All sports.
Active coaches in all sports today. You and I agreed on 3. Nick Saban, Alabama. We agreed on Coach K, and we agreed on
Bill Belichick.
The 4th one I've come up with, I don't know if you agree with me, Mr. Popovich.
Number of NBA titles, it'd be tough to argue. I'm not sure that there's an active one in baseball. You know, maybe Joe Torre would have been if he were still active. Hard to argue with Popovich for the 4th one.
That's about Mount Rushmore. Now, you go to Twitter, people, and tell me what you think. Just go to @RaceDavis or @DickieV and just tell us what you think.
Would you like for me, you said that I was your crutch, would you like for me to help you out again from your Mount Rushmore of college basketball to remind the people 40 years at ESPN, which means that John Wooden did not coach during your time at ESPN.
And Larry Bird didn't play.
Right.
I get letters. How could you not pick Larry Bird? Are you kidding me? How could you not have John Wooden? It's my 40 years. He was before then. Oh, nice ball fake.
Baker can't get the pull-up to go. Well, we've talked about just about everything under the sun. There's an interesting thing, and look, I know Miami's offense hasn't been good tonight, but one of the things that Jim Larrañaga did in the offseason is he wanted his team to improve their catch-and-shoot percentage. They worked on it in the offseason, play a few games. It's still the same as last year. So they dig into the analytics, and they realize that they're better shooting jumpers off the dribble. And in terms of points per possession, lead the country in jumpers off the dribble. Now, Duke hasn't given them much of anything tonight. Well, it's an example that even a veteran coach like Larinaga, relying on metrics, evolving, changing, as certainly as we've seen. And Coach K's gotten a lot of credit for doing that, but Jim's been able to do it and continue to try to look for ways to make his team as successful as possible.
Well, what he's got to look for is, number one, they got to upgrade their talent level. They really do. I mean, you competing now, he had some real good talent when he went to the Sweet 16. The talent level's not right there, but a lot of injuries have created that. And also, as we said earlier, they had verbal commitments out of the kid Walker at Oregon and the kid Bay at Villanova. And it just didn't happen.
Likes getting into the paint, dumps it to Rodney Miller. Miller's going to go to the free throw line, and Dick, while this game has gotten out of hand, a little statistical note has not escaped our notice. Rodney Miller has put together his first career double-double tonight. He gets to go to the free throw line for a couple more.
He's played hard. Miller's played real hard, as all the kids have. They're just outmanned. You're outmanned. You're dealing with McDonald's High School All-Americans. There's a reason they're McDonald's High School All-Americans. It's coming out with some unbelievable talent.
Brooke, Rodney Miller's really worked to improve his physical conditioning to improve as a player.
Yes, he absolutely has. Actually, he's down 45 pounds. He redshirted last year and let him focus on improving himself while he lost that weight. And he said he battled his weight so much last season that trying to figure out the eating pattern was the most difficult part for him. He said, I had to stop eating late, and the hardest part was trying to find time just to eat 3 meals a day, between working out, between going to class. Just trying to find that balance and time to eat regularly. And guys, he's really up for one of the most improved players in the ACC. And you look at it, he's trying to walk it off right now, but just having that energy down the stretch was the biggest difference for him.
Well, he's got to have the energy like you, Brooke, when you played at Coastal Carolina. They told me you could handle a rock big time.
I was a shooter, Dickie V, not a handler. I was not the PTPer that you described.
I think Brooke was a three sports. She led it in 3 sports.
Wow, that's an athlete. That's an athlete.
Retire.
I'm going to ask you something, Reese. Miami, speaking about Miami, football, I just signed, they got a quarterback coming in from Houston.
De'Aaron King.
Is he a good one?
He's excellent. He's a dual threat guy. He's an explosive guy who got a lot of attention during the season because 4 games into the season at Houston, whose idea it was is still a little nebulous, whether it was De'Aaron's idea or Dana Holgerson, head coach's idea, but they pulled out some of the guys De'Aaron was playing and producing, decided to pull him out to redshirt him. He said at that time he had no intention of transferring. I think most everyone assumed that he probably would eventually, and he did. So he's going to Miami. Manny Diaz, he's gotten a couple of guys as grad transfers, and he's hoping that De'Aaron can give a little spark to that offense that didn't really have any this past year. But yet, to answer your question, he's a dual threat guy. He's extremely fast, good runner, a solid passer, not an elite passer, but certainly a guy who's very capable at the college level.
That's a big year next year for Manny Diaz because they were really disappointing this year.
Now, you don't let Florida International with Butch Davis open up a can on your backside, and that's not it doesn't make people happy.
Tell you one thing, I'm really impressed with the guy, Florida State, Mike Norvell. I think they got a good one there.
They do. He did a tremendous job at Memphis during his time there, and we'll try to get that Seminole ship righted because you've talked about the ACC being a little bit down in basketball. It certainly was in football and non-Clemson category. In basketball, you have 3 teams that look like, or that are stone cold locks to make the tournament. The top 2 teams, Louisville and Florida State, and obviously Duke. As Trey Jones comes up with a steal and glides in for 2. But a couple others that look like they'll make it right now, but beyond that, there's a lot of work to do if they're going to wind up, with more than 4, maybe 5 bids.
Some people are probably saying right now, why is Trey Jones on the floor? Why is, you want to give players a little experience. He's played everybody on the bench. He's played everybody basically.
There are a couple guys over there, but some of the guys that Duke hasn't played yet, redshirting. So you don't have that football rule since we're talking football, playing X number of games and then coming back. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball presented by Progressive Insurance. Get slam dunk savings today. Visit progressive.com. Kenny, look forward to it coming up. That brawl between Kansas and Kansas State at the end of the game at Allen Fieldhouse is going to dominate some conversation for a few days. College game day going there on Saturday. That decision was made well before the ugliness of this evening. See what type of suspensions or perhaps even more severe consequences come the way of those involved on both sides. It looked like Silvio De Sosa was the one who was most involved. David McCormick was also in the middle of it, and a few other players from both teams.
There'll be some suspensions, there's no doubt about it. Has to be. Big 12's going to come down. They should come down heavy because there's no place in the game for that. You know, speaking about Miami right now, you say if you're Jim Larinaga, what do you get out of here? Well, you grab your kids and you simply say, we're down 24 at the half, right? Well, they're down right now 25 in the game. So we're right now 1 point behind Duke in second half action. So you got to take something away where you leave mentally and psychologically that you're not destroyed. And the bottom line is you try to be, you know, as positive as you can be. You don't want to look at this tape. You want to throw it away. This has been one of the most ugly games that I've ever been part of in my 40 years in terms of a mismatch. Certainly not ugly the way Duke came out and played. They played exactly what their coach said. He wanted to play hard. He wanted to execute, be efficient, and they weren't. And Hurt came out early, made threes, and got them running and going.
Okay, so, and that is part of what I would assume now during an off week, or no game this weekend for the Blue Devils. Don't play again until next Tuesday. And so what does Mike Krzyzewski deal with his young team? He's talked a lot to us as Cassius Stanley goes in. If this team has to continue to build and grow, it's going to have ups and downs because so many of their key players are young and developing. What do they take out of a game like this?
Well, you take out of the game that we played together, we played hard, we shared the ball, we shot the three, we defended. And they did all the right things. Did everything they could capably do. I think they'll give them a couple of days off as well. Because this time of the year, you want to get your bodies fresh. You want them to be healthy and strong and fresh. I'm really impressed with the athleticism of the kid Stanley. There's Wendell Moore sitting on the sideline. They hope to get him back in a couple of weeks.
I'm hoping he'll be back in February. It was against Miami in the first game that Wendell Moore, who's one of their more versatile players, broke his hand as Justin Robinson checks into the game for the Blue Devils.
David Robinson's son wears number 50, the Admiral. What an amazing job. An amazing job David's done, and he and his wife, in raising their children. His other son played a little football at Notre Dame.
Yes, he did.
And was the president of the senior class.
And student body president during his final year at South Bend. It's Alex O'Connell. Now scores, so he is the 9th Blue Devil to score tonight. Here's the promo, Big 12 SEC Challenge, Tennessee, Kansas, Kentucky, Texas Tech, and #1 Baylor in Florida. It's all on Saturday on ESPN and streaming live on the ESPN app. Dick's going to be with Bob Wischusen. Baylor and Florida coming up inside the last 2 minutes here. And #1 Baylor Bears leading the way in the Big 12 will challenge the Gators, who lost a heartbreaker tonight. And much more coming up on the brawl between Kansas and Kansas State on SportsCenter tonight. Here's what Bill Self had to say. Quote, obviously it's an embarrassment, not something you'd be proud of. This is what happens. It's actually not a sign of toughness. It's a sign of immaturity, selfishness, more than it is toughness.
I congratulate him for that statement, because that is as factual and as honest as a coach can be. The only thing I would have liked to see is more control by the staff in keeping the players on the bench on that sideline.
You know, we saw the aftermath. The clock hit 0, and you wonder how much of it was just sort of they think the game's over.
Yeah,
and
you're right about that.
If that contributed to, you know, to the guys running in and who ran in to try to be a peacemaker and then got caught up in it and all those types of things. But there are going to be some severe consequences, and rightfully so. O'Connell's hit a couple late here.
Now O'Connell gets on the scoreboard. That's a second score in a row now.
You know, you mentioned Justin Robinson, David's son. I was at practice a few days ago for the Blue Devils, and watching him work with the younger players and help guide them just really epitomizes what a great teammate he is.
And that starts with leadership at home. I know there's David. There's David. He's on a board of directors with it's his wife next to him on his left. The bottom line is he epitomizes the family concept. He's just a terrific humanitarian, great person. O'Connell.
Our man O'Connell's got to work on those numbers in the last minute.
David, he's wearing that Duke hat. He better get a Naval Academy hat on.
Anthony Walker working on Justin Robinson.
David's one of 2 players in my 40 years that I got up and gave a standing ovation when he played and fouled out of the game.
There's O'Connell again. He's got a quick 8.
Yeah, he wants double figures. He had, ready for this? He had 45 and about, 18 rebounds exactly against Kentucky. And a couple phantom fouls put him on the sideline. And I got him out of my seat. And Keith Jackson was laughing. And I gave him a standing ovation.
Was Nick Collison the other one?
Yeah, Collison,
Kansas?
Collison, what a performance. You got a heck of a memory, man. Heck of a memory.
I can't remember where I parked my car at the airport, but I can remember that.
That was a Kansas game.
Jack White with the steal. And they want Mike Buckmeyer, who was a sidekick for Zion Williamson last year in the post-game news conferences. The Crazies are urging Mike to let one fly, but I don't think we're going to see a repeat of Kansas State, and it is finished. It was over early. It's officially finished now. Duke with a 30-point win, 80-59. For Dick Vitale, Brooke Weisbrod, and our entire ESPN crew, I'm Reese Davis. Thanks for watching. SportsCenter's coming up next. Much more on the brawl in Kansas, and also the Australian Open's going on ESPN2. But right now, SportsCenter, Kenny Mayne and Zubin Mehenti. Fellas, all yours.